Somalis have always seen themselves as a fabric of this nation.
Y'all just started coming here in 1991 under this TPS. So what part of that is now you're the fabric of the nation? And it's not racist. It's not Islamophobic. It's not any of the insert phobic here. It's not any of those things to say I can see plainly with my own eyes what you guys represent. And that is not the fabric of our nation. We've got to get these terror groups and people associated with them the hell out of our country. So there is an issue that I continue to address because it continues to exist. And I fear that we are not taking it seriously enough in this country. Of course, I'm referring to the Islamification of the entire country, but a lot of which is, let's be honest, coming from Somalia, right? And when you look at the Islamic problem as a whole, okay, well, that's not just Somalians. But when you look at the state of Minnesota, for instance, well, it is kind of a Somali problem. And we've seen it with our own eyes, right? I mean, we see the case of Ilhan Omar, who we'll get to. But this is from the Census Bureau, all right? That, like, very clear where that state is when you're looking at this data. They have come in, they've taken advantage of this system for decades. And it's actually a question that I had. I didn't realize this until very recently, but one of the questions I had is, with all of these ICE raids, which support your local ICE raids, you can buy this cup or shirt or hat or hoodie at saramerch.com because we do support our local ICE raids. And to that point, I'm like, why are they not just going into Minnesota and taking all of these, some of whom are illegal Somalians off the streets? Well, actually, they were given temporary protection status, so they can't be deported back to where they came from because it would be, according to the feds, it would be inhumane to send them back to where they came from. So I guess we have to just keep them. Okay. Now, when you think about the idea that temporary protected status for Somalia and Somalians started in 1991, that's not very temporary, is it? That if you can point back decades and decades later, that's not very temporary, in my opinion. And so I just would like to let's look at where we should tackle this problem and how deep the problem gets. Okay. So Donald Trump is now taking steps to end the temporary protection status for Somalians, which, listen, I'm very grateful for. I wish it had happened before Ilhan Omar became naturalized, because when you look at the statistics, 72% of the Somalians who already came in have already become naturalized citizens. So when we talk about, yes, is it great policy to end the temporary protected status for Somalians, for Haitians, for insert foreign-born national here? Yes, we should definitely eliminate the temporary protected status, especially if that temporary protected status started decades ago. We should definitely do that. But what else should we be doing? I don't want to take our eyes off the prize here, okay? Because at this point, there are only 700 something Somalis in the entire United States who are currently protected by the TPS, by the temporary protected status. So these people have already become naturalized citizens, which, by the way, we need to completely reform the way that people are allowed to do that so quickly, all right? And when you look at, say, the case of, one Ilhan Omar, she came from Somalia. She doesn't appreciate anything this country has given her. In fact, she uses her position as homegirl literally got a position in Congress. She is now a congresswoman, and she's still bitching about being oppressed, which is so bizarre to me. Girl, you are a member of Congress still complaining that you're oppressed. I just don't think that's the case. And you have people like Ilhan Omar who are going through the process, who are coming here, who don't appreciate anything this country has given them, even though they've risen to the level that they've risen to, who really don't want to assimilate at all. And then they have the audacity, again, in the case of Ilhan Omar, to go out and say something like this.
Somalis are not terrorizing this nation. We are helping it thrive. Somalis have always seen themselves as a fabric of this nation. So not only are we not going anywhere.
Oh.
Not only are we not going anywhere, we are not going to allow anybody to make us feel less Minnesotan or less American.
Oh, okay. So they're not going anywhere, according to Ilhan Omar, but they are the fabric of this nation. Explain to me, y'all just started coming here in 1991 under this TPS. So what part of that is now you're the fabric of the nation? I mean, the audacity to say such a thing when you don't plan on assimilating. The streets of Dearborn, Michigan, and certain parts of Minnesota basically look like Tehran. That is not the fabric of our nation. It's not. And it's not racist. It's not Islamophobic. It's not any of the insert phobic here. It's not any of those things to say, I can see plainly with my own eyes what you guys represent. And that is not the fabric of our nation. And when you take the audacity, the arrogance in her saying such a thing, I want you to understand how dangerous this is, because over in Minnesota, they have a sheriff who, you'll notice as I play this video, is not speaking English, but says in the native tongue, which is very ugly, by the way, but says that they are here working for Somalians. As Somalian police officers, we work for you, Somalians. We stand for you and serve you. We came to this country as refugees. There were no Somalian police officers. So now that we have been hired, it means we are working for our own people. We understand the culture, we understand the language, we understand the way of life. That's why we are different from foreigners or white officers. We help bridge that gap. Every Somalian police officer, whether you're in the homeland or abroad, works for you, of course, meaning Somalians. When you're asleep at night, we're the ones protecting you, which sounds like a threat to me. That does not sound like a good time. But the point is, how can you be both the fabric of our nation and also claiming we are so separate that only we who come from Somalia can represent you. Only we understand your culture and your way of life and your native tongue. Only we can understand that. Both of those things cannot be true at once. Those things cannot be true at once. And how terrifying is it? I mean, what way of life, what culture, what law will these police officers enforce? Police officers are given a lot of discretion. Okay. And when you have Minneapolis Police Chief Brian O'Hara, who stated a fact, some Somalians are actually carrying out crime. He was then forced to, you can't say that. You can't call out criminals these days. Okay. Because if they are the wrong skin tone, if they come from a TPS, you actually have to apologize, which, by the way, looks like a hostage video at this point.
The Somali community here in Minneapolis has been welcoming and has shown love towards me, and I appreciate it.
Look at all of them in the background.
Over the last 3 years, we have been working together to try and address some of the real serious problems that we have in our community.
Blink twice.
We have to be honest at times with the problems
if you're being
that we're
forced
having
to give this apology.
And we need our community to help us fix those problems together because it's real and it's serious. At the same time, if people have taken anything that I have said out of context in a way that's caused harm, I apologize, and I'm sorry for that, because that's not my intention at all.
It was not his intention. It was not his intention. It was not his intention to point out that there are real crimes being carried out using Minnesota's taxpayer dollars, like the one that our very own Chris Rufo recently uncovered. The largest funder of al-Shabaab is the Minnesota taxpayer. How some of the state's welfare funds ended up in the hands of a terror group. So when you read this expose, apparently Somalians are carrying out fraud schemes on basically everything from SNAP funds to COVID funds, and then they're funneling that money back to, you guessed it, terror groups, because that's what they're about. Now, one of many examples I could cite for you, autism claims to Medicaid, so in the state of Minnesota, have skyrocketed from 3 million in 2018 to 399 million in 2023. Well, how could that possibly be? It turns out these Somalians were setting up fraudulent autism treatment centers, and they were sending all of these bills, all of these charges to Medicaid, and then they were reimbursed by taxpayers, and then they funneled that money overseas to terror groups. So do you understand why the eliminating temporary protected status does it does essentially nothing? What else are we going to do to get these people the hell out of our country? Speaking of this issue, President Trump, again, God bless him. I love him. He has done so much. And every single day I wake up and am so grateful that we do not have President Cacklin Kamala Harris as president right now. Like our lives would be demonstrably worse under President Harris. I'm not trying to will that into the universe by calling her that. President Harris. Okay. He signed an executive order, President Trump did, targeting certain Muslim Brotherhood chapters as terrorist groups. But it doesn't go far enough, guys, because when you read the fine print, it's just as this headline says, certain chapters, okay? Specifically chapters in Egypt, Jordan, and Lebanon, which, by the way, Egypt already designated the Muslim Brotherhood a terrorist organization in 2013. Saudi Arabia did it in 2014. Russia did it in 2003. We're kind of behind the mark here in 2025. And I'm just wondering, why are we only picking and choosing certain what about Turkey? What about some of these other chapters? Like, why are we picking and choosing chapters? Why can we not just say Muslim Brotherhood? You know what? We want no bit of it. We want no bit of it. It's a terrorist organization. And if you have certain chapters who are like peaceful, which I completely don't believe is true, then take it up with your other chapters, okay? You guys hash that out. But for now, for us, we don't need to hash that out. We're just going to designate you guys a terrorist organization, and we're going to go on and we're going to feel really good about that. And we're going to sleep like babies at night, because we've got to get these terror groups and people associated with them the hell out of our country. Please, anyone who is around the president, who is advising him, we need to take like 7 more steps tomorrow to rid our country of these people before they do more damage in violent crime and in, of course, as you just saw, stealing from the American taxpayer. If you like this clip and you want to see the full episode, click here. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, come on, you know you do. Click here.